And as we go, we'll have a lot of questions, I'm sure. Certainly, I'm not familiar with sweets and candy making, so please enter questions, any question at all in the chat box, and we'll talk about technique and tradition as we go along. So with no further ado, Dalia, please, please take it from here.
Thank you, Rina. Good morning, everybody. As Rina said, we are going to do Travados today, and I learned that from our lovely, dear Lady Auxiliary. I remember when I joined the Lady Auxiliary, I used to watch my aunt, God bless her memory, friend Mashkatel and Mary Alchek, and I think also Elaine Cole, making them close to Purim Bazaar when we used to sell all the sweets and all the baked goods. It's similar, I mean, it's not quite as baklava, but it's similar ingredients. So let's start with the honey. I'm doing it in an electric pot. So I put the syrup, it's 1 cup of water and 1.5 cup of sugar. Let it simmer, let it boil and reduce itself. When the sugar melt and you see how it's getting reduced, mixed together with the water nicely. So let's give it for about 5 minutes or so to let it cook, and then we'll add the honey to it and reduce the heat and cook it for about 10 minutes. In the meantime, that when we put the water and the sugar cooking, we can start, if you guys ready, let's start to the dough. So I have in a bowl 2.5 cups of flour, and if I need to add more, I have another 1/2 cup of flour just to be extra for us. We add to it the 1 cup of oil, 1/2 cup of orange juice. I did, I squeezed my orange juice. I like it fresh. So that's a fresh orange juice, 1/2 cup. We'll add to it 1/2 cup of, a 1/3 cup of sugar, or 3 tablespoons of sugar. So it's 1/3 cup of sugar. And we mix it all together. So you just need to knead it, to put it together. I think we'll need extra flour. So when it's liquidy, but I'll knead it a little bit more just to make sure. Okay, I need to add the extra flour. Perfect. And knead it until it's smooth and soft, so you can work with the dough. It's not a Boraca dough. It's similar, but it's not. It's with, of course. It needs to be nice and smooth.
What did you say, Dalia? It's without what?
I said it's not a Boraca's.
Okay.
It's not a Boraca's dough, but it's like, you know, it's the same idea, just the Boraca's.
Similar consistency. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be. So I finished the dough. It looks really good.
Dalia, Marlene suggested that some people also use white wine instead of orange juice.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But here at EB, we always did it with orange juice. So if somebody wants to convert their orange juice to white wine, that's the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys can see. That's the dough, how it's going to look like. It's, again, it's a mixed all together. So I put 3 cups of flour instead of the 2.5. I started with 2.5, but it was liquidy, so I needed to add more flour.
When
Now
you
we're
get,
going to, I'm sorry, go
Dalia,
ahead.
can you bring the whole bowl? Can you bring
Yeah.
the whole bowl close to the camera and give
Yes,
them
I
a
will in a
chance
second.
to?
I will, yes, in a second.
So it's not sticky. It's not sticky and it's smooth, yeah?
It's not sticky,
But
just
it's
like that.
a little soft. It's still soft, but
Yes.
not sticky.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, and if you feel like you need to add a little bit more flour, go ahead. It's really,
Forgiving?
I don't know if everybody heard Rena in the beginning. We should preheat the oven to 350, please, to get it ready for baking.
And should they be watching the syrup as well? What happens if you
So I don't know.
don't cook it too long, yeah?
I'll try to show you. It's a water, and I think it's the color is getting golden now.
Okay.
After it's cooked, and I'm going now add the syrup, the honey, I'm sorry, to it.
So in the recipe, Dalia,
Yeah.
You've said that to cook it, simmer it about 10 minutes, but are we also looking for a color to know when it's done?
So after you put the water and the sugar all become liquid, you know, so, and simmer it to, I mean, cook it for like about, I don't know, I think 5 minutes, 6-7 minutes. You add you'll add the honey to it.
And so how do we know? How do we know that the sugar water syrup is ready?
So it's reduced itself a little bit. I mean, you can see the amount it's getting reduced. And also you see when you mix it, you see the water and the sugar become a little bit yellowish.
Okay.
When it's boiling, you know? So now when I add the honey, you need to mix it well. And then let it get to a boil. But be careful because honey, you know how honey is when it gets boiled. So be careful, don't make a mess. And then when you get to a boil, you guys simmer it, lower the heat. So
what happens when we overheat honey?
It's just, you know, how to say that? It's flowing up. I mean, it's a really
boiling. Does
like,
it splatter?
It's a lot of foam on top.
Yeah.
It's really getting all over. So you need to be careful, mix it all the time, and just make sure that it's, you know, let it.
Can we bring the pan in front of the camera again?
I will in a second. That's what it's look after I put the oil, the honey on it. Can you see?
Can everybody see? Okay, yeah, I can see. I can see. So it's a light golden color.
It's not ready yet.
It's not a deep caramel. It's just a light color.
It's not caramelized yet. No, we need to give it another 10 minutes at least to get caramelized. Okay?
All right.
So in the meantime, we need to watch it over, please, guys. I mean, I really don't want your stuff to get like I did in Rosh Hashanah with my queens.
What happened?
I let it overboil with the sugar and the sweet, all the sugar on it, and it's all over my stove. It ruined my stove. So that. So really mix it really well and let it get to a boil. And then reduce the heat for another 10 minutes. So it's not boiling yet. Give it another 2 minutes. And even less, it started boiling already here. Yeah, it's boiling for me over here already.
And so what are you looking for, Dalia? Color mostly?
It's need to thicken it. It's
thicken and color. Okay.
To get thicker. So when we'll put the Travados, dip the Travados on it, you know, inside. We need what we do after we bake the Travados.
Yeah.
We are going to take the Travados and dip it, put it in the hot honey, and take it out. and then sprinkle the sesame.
But it
on.
thickens more once it cools, right?
Yeah, but we need hot honey. We don't need cold honey.
Right.
When we do the Travados, it's always in a, mine is getting crazy over here, so I'm going to lower it already. I guess it's electric, so it's faster. Just make sure to watch it. So we can, after when it's ready, we can turn off the stove and then we can heat it up. It's going to get heat up really quick after it's cooked when we're ready to dip the Travados on, to put it inside, okay? So let's right now just make sure that it's thickening. In the meantime, let's simmer it for 10 minutes or so, okay? And we'll come back to it. Now let's do the filling. So I have here.
So Dalia, let me ask you one question. You know how the syrup gets more solid as it cools. So in the pot, what kind of texture are you looking for? When it's hot, should it be like a maple syrup kind of consistency, or how thick should the how thick should the syrup be when it's hot?
It shouldn't be thick. It just thicken it. You don't want it also to be really not cooked yet. Right now, it's not cooked. If you lift it up, you see it's not getting the color that you're looking for, a really gold, nice yellow color.
Okay.
Dark gold color you need to find. You know, when you cook the honey, you'll see it. The color is going to change.
Well, you'll show us. When we get to that point, you'll show us what.
Yes, absolutely.
And so everybody should have theirs on very low.
Yeah, after it's boiled, you know, let it simmer. Cook it slowly for another, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it's need to be. We'll watch over it. Mine, it's already, it's still liquidy. You don't want it to be like runny, a little bit thick, but not thick that you cannot, that it's like you cannot do anything with that. The Travados need to be dipped in. So it's need to be, I'll show you how it's going to look like. So now we're going to do the filling. I have over here 2.5 cups of mixed nuts. I know when I got here, the baklava used to people do it only with almonds. I like all kinds of nuts. It's make it more rich and tasty. So I add to it walnuts and pecans, and some people do pistachios and all kinds, whatever you want, it's just make it better. So over here I have walnuts, pecans, and almonds. And I don't know if the recipe ask for cinnamon and cloves, but I add about tablespoon of each and mix it all together.
Dalia, do you ever roast the nuts first before grinding them?
No.
Just blanch nuts.
Yes, just because you put them in, it's going to.
And then how fine are the nuts? How small is it? Like a powder?
Everybody in their own taste. I did it that much.
Like a very fine powder.
It's not fine. You can see the nuts. I like to, when I eat baklava and Travados, I like to feel the nuts when I eat.
Okay. And so how did you grind them? Did you grind them in a food processor or with
I did a food process, yes.
But very quickly, yeah? So it doesn't turn into
again, not big, not chunky pieces, but not fine. You don't want to be powdered. You want it when you eat, you need to feel it.
Okay.
Now you add to it the sesame, toasted sesame. And before I squeeze my lemon, I grated the peel. So it's about, the recipe called for 1 orange, I did 2, just because I like and then we're going to add, in baklava, we put sugar in the mixture. Over here, we put honey. So we're going to put honey, like about 2 tablespoons honey, to mix it together and see how it's getting formed. Just thicken it to thicken I'm watching, and then all the time mix your honey to make sure it's getting evenly you know.
Dalia, can you tell us what temperature the electric pan is on?
Right now, I put it on 200, maybe 250.
So is that, if it were a electric range or a gas range, sort of low, medium?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Thank
But
you.
again, mix it all the time, please. All the time, mix it. Make sure that it's, you know, give it a stir. So it's going to be, now we're going back to our filling. We are mixing it together and make sure that it stick, you know, it need to be together, all together. So when you put it in the dough, it's not dry, not loose. Like it's need to. I'll show you how it's. I think I need a little bit more honey, and it says just work with the honey as much that you see, and let's get the. They can test it and see. I need a little bit. I think like about another tablespoon of honey to get it really mixed. Okay.
So Dalia, you didn't put any spices in, but do some
I did.
people? Oh, you did?
I did
Okay.
cloves. I did cloves and cinnamon.
Okay, I don't think we have that on our recipe, so maybe
Yeah,
people
I
should
think you're right.
make
So
a
that's why
note.
I said, if you, some people don't like it.
Yeah.
So so some people don't like, you guys, I'm lowering my honey now to 200 because it's really getting crazy. Okay. Sorry.
that honey's getting crazy.
Yeah. Crazy
So
stupid.
about how much cinnamon would you put in for that much?
About a 1 tablespoon each.
1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon?
Tablespoon. I just want to show you how after I add the honey, how the dough, how the filling looks like. Just like.
So it sticks.
You can yeah, exactly. It's thick. You can make it a ball of it.
Okay, beautiful.
Like this. So that's how much money and how much honey you need to put.
Okay.
And mix it really well. Okay, so that's ready. Okay. Now let's check the honey, how it looks like. It's getting there. I think by the time you make the Travados, I think it'll be just good. It's getting there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's still running, but it's not like it was.
Can you do that again? Bring it closer to the camera and show everybody. Oh, okay, there you go. All right. So we can see it kind of dripping slowly, not just coming off as quickly as water.
Okay, so now we are going to take the dough. Now sizes, it's totally up to everybody what size they wanted to do. You know, I think it will be nice. You see about that size. You open it and you make a nice round and put inside. It's depends by the size that you're doing. It's according to that you're going to put your filling, like that kind of size of a bowl. You want to put it in, close it. Now, with Boracays, we are tightening together. Travados, usually we make the nice floating over there, but with Travados, we usually just close it. Nice. Take all the extra dough if you have extra dough. There you go.
Pretty.
And then you put it. Now it says in the recipe that you need to flour the tray that you are baking. I did it. I put parchment, so it's good enough. Again, that size of a ball, about that size of the ball. I'll flat it in my. And put the filling. Close it with your fingers. It's not going to come out, no worries.
Beautiful.
And then put it in there. So that's the way that we are continue all the way.
Okay, we have an important question.
Yeah.
If the honey boils over, if the syrup boils over,
Yeah.
can it still
It's
be
okay.
used?
It's okay. Yeah, you can use it.
It's okay,
just like
but you just have a cleaning problem.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid for you guys, not to clean after that.
So now how do we, if we just soak the pot in water, it dissolves over time. How do you clean up your oven?
Yeah. I mean, you dissolve, you'll be fine, but you don't, why you want it on the stove?
Yeah.
You don't, I'm not worried about the pot. The pot can get clean, but not the stove. I mean, the stove, it can be clean too. It's just like it's a pan, it's just, there we go. One more. So that's where you continue until you finish your dough, you finish your filling or whatever. If you need to make more, if you like more, just double the recipe according to whatever your needs need to be. It's a delicious cookie. It's a very rich, especially when you dip it in the honey. Like I said, that's the first time in my life I saw it. It's over here at EB with the Lady Auxiliary during Purim when we making all the sweet, and Bina, our guest star, going to talk about all the sweet tray that we're making for Purim soon after I'll be done here.
Beautiful. So because they're so rich, we could even make them smaller. Yeah, Dalia?
You can make them what size that you wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also saw a picture with some texture on the dough.
What you mean?
Someone made used a fork to make like little lines in the dough and then wrapped it.
Yeah, you can. Again, you can do if whatever you feel like. Yeah, anything. I'm just making it the way that we're making it over here at EB.
Yeah. So Dalia, we had an interesting question about the tradition of Travados. I think we eat them at Purim and Rosh Hashanah, but do you know why? Or
yeah, honestly, I really, like I said, I never grew up with that sweet. You know, as you all know, my background is Tunisian, and in Purim we actually make a different kind. I mean, again, with lots of nuts and sweet and dates and stuff. Similar.
What do you make? What is the Tunisian sweets? What are they like?
It's called, the Tunisian one, it's called makoud. And it's the dough, it's made from semolina, and you fill it with dates. You know, you make the dates spread, and then it's actually very similar, just without the nuts. It says, and the dough is different, of course. And my mom used to fry it. So just imagine, fry it and then dip it in honey. How fattening it is, right?
Delicious.
But that's what I grew up with. That it's delicious. You can bake it as well, but it's not as good. But you definitely can bake it. And another thing that I grew up with, the Moroccan actually call it guzrelos, and we call it dibla. And it's made with flour, and then you are rolling it on your fork and fry it on the same time. You are on the hot boiling oil on the stove, and it's made like a flower, like a rose. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's nice, and it's also deep in honey afterwards. Everything in Purim that you eat, beside Hamentashen, of course, but most of the sweet that I see, it's all fried or baked and deep in honey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see all the time. So, you know, and that's what people used to give each other as a mishloach manot, or to eat it during Seudat Purim. And like I said, Bina is going to speak about the sweet tray, what it's mean for on Purim, what the meaning for Purim. So
and we eat many of these sweets for Rosh Hashanah also, yeah?
I guess so. I mean, listen, Rosh Hashanah, it's for sweet New Year, yeah. I can see it. But as I said, the ladies usually bake it only before Bazaar, only before, before Purim, unless I think if they have a special order or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what I remember that we're doing. Anyway, I wanted to show you how the syrup looks like. Hold on just a second. It's got the golden color that I was talking about. And I'll show you when I lift it. It's running, but it's not running as it was before. It's getting thicken and thicken. Thicken it. You need to thicken it. So I'm going to, you guys can, if it's didn't get to that point, you can continue cooking, and the same time you do the old travados, and we put it in the oven to bake.
Dalia, we had a question about the boreca, the dough, the outside dough. Is it oilier than the boreca dough? Is it the same?
I think it's yeah. I feel it also. It's a little bit oily. If you want it less oil, maybe we should put a little bit more flour. If somebody wants it less oily, you can put more flour on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but the dough, it's consistent. It's really.
But it's supposed to be there's a little bit more oil than liquid.
Yeah, especially when you let it sit down, all the oil, rest, the oil all coming out. So when when I take the dough, I try to leave the oil down. So I take only the dough. Some people, I did see Travados that are smoother than this. The dough was really smooth. Maybe they used a regular Boracays dough. That could be too. But like I said, that's the way that we are doing that here at EB. So is anybody making them actually? Do you know?
Oh, yes, we have people who are baking along. I'm wondering, Dalia, maybe now would be a good time as they finish and put them in the oven, because as soon as they have a tray full, they can put it in the oven. Maybe we can switch to our special guest star, Bina Alhadeff, who will, I'm looking for Bina. Oh, there you are. Bina. We're gonna add you so we can still watch Dalia, see what she's doing. Dalia, we can still see you, but now we can also see Bina. Hi, Bina.
Hi.
Hello, Bina.
Would you tell us about Fulares and anything else that you can think of that is how you celebrate Purim and things that you can share with our guests today?
Okay. We know that there is a mitzvah on Purim to have a special seudah, a holiday meal, and to give gifts of food, which we call mishloach manot. All of us have tasted Hamentashen, a Yiddish word for the three-corner cookies, known in Hebrew as Oznei Haman, meaning the ears of Haman. Haman is a villain in the Megillah who tried to kill the Jews, and in the end he was arrested and executed. But most of us are less familiar with Sephardic Purim treats, such as huevos de Haman, also known in Ladino as Fulares or Fularicos. These are hard-boiled eggs wrapped in dough or a pastry, which are supposed to look like Haman in his jail cell or tied up with ropes. There was also a wonderful custom specifically for Sephardic girls. Sephardic girls would make or receive a different type of fularico where the pastry or dough was shaped to look like a bird wrapped around the egg. I would suggest that girls should make them look like an owl because that is my favorite animal. Here are some pictures of Fulares.
There we go.
Start with a basic pastry dough of flour, salt, vegetable oil, and ice water or hot water, depending on your custom, and of course, eggs. Some recipes call for Parmesan cheese. Take a small walnut-sized piece of dough and roll it into a smooth ball, then flatten the ball into a disc about 3 inches around. Place a cooked egg in the center of the disc of dough. Take the leftover dough and roll it out to 2 or 3 ropes. The ropes should be about 1/3 inch wide and long enough to go from one side of the disc to the other. Twist the rope and then attach it to one side of the disc. Stretch it over to the egg. Attach it to the other side of the disc. This makes the prison cell bars over the egg. Place the fulares on your baking sheet. Bake until the dough is crisp and golden. This should take around 20 minutes. When they are done, take them out of the oven. You can eat them warm or at room temperature. Fulares are usually served at brunch or breakfast or as an afternoon snack.
So, Bina, is that the same kind of dough that you make for boracays?
I don't know.
Those are so pretty. Now, Bina, did you cook the eggs before you put them in the cages?
No, you cook them all together.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then also you can dye them really any color. I did it with green, but you can also do it like with red or other any colors.
Cool.
Also, you do it with white vinegar. So you basically just put hot water in a bowl, and then vinegar and some food coloring, Then you stir it all together and put the eggs in.
Now, I was reading too, Bina, that some people really like huevos haminados, you know, the ones that are really creamy and they're brown and they've been cooked. We eat them for Pesach a lot. Do you think that that's something maybe you could do with the huevo haminado too?
Yeah, probably.
Very cool.
Buen Purim. Now I would like to call Hazan Sadia to sing, what is it? En Kelohenu.
Thank you, Sadia.
Hi.
Hi. Go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
En Kelohenu, en Kadonenu, en Kamokenu, en Kamoshienu. Non como esto Dios, non como esto Señor, non como esto Rey, non como esto Salvador. Mi Kamokenu, mi Kamokenu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kamokenu, mi Kamoshienu. Can como esto Dios, can como esto Señor, can como esto Rey, can como esto Salvador. No de Elohenu, no de la Adonenu, no de la Mokenu, no de la Moshienu. Lo haremos en nuestro Dios, lo haremos en nuestro Señor, lo haremos en nuestro Rey. Lo haremos en nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atah Eloheinu, Atah Adonenu, Atah Malkeinu, Atah Moshienu. Tú el nuestro Dios, tú el nuestro Señor, tú el nuestro Rey, tú el nuestro Salvador. Buen Purim.
Buen Purim. Thank you so much
Yay.
for us.
Thank you, Bina and Sadia. It's Dalia again. I'm almost done with my Travados. I got about 25 of them, try 24. I'm going to put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. And then we'll dip them in honey and sesame. Okay.
So now while they're baking, this would be a great time for anybody just to ask questions. We have this wonderful resource with us, Dalia. Any questions about not just Travados, but if you have any questions about any, recipes or cooking techniques or customs, please feel free to ask any question. And of course, if you have any questions about Hazanut, we can also ask Sadia because we have him here with us, which is also another treat for today. And Bina, we can ask Bina questions as well. Well, let me ask you guys.
I wanted to show you the syrup.
Okay, let's see.
It's getting, it's very hard to see, but maybe I'll do that.
Oh, great.
That kind of color you're going to shoot for. Okay, golden, you see it's really getting like gold, nice.
And it's also very thick considering that it's hot.
It's really, thick now. It's thickened for sure more without it. Just keep it to simmer, like keep it hot, but not boiling, okay? Just so when we take out the
It stays loose.
from the oven, we
Yeah.
can dip it quick, and that's it.
So keep it warm enough so that it doesn't harden, it doesn't solidify.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, this is a very good question, Dalia.
Yes.
If they're not going to be eaten right away, can the syrup part be done later?
Absolutely. So that's the way that we do it over here in the EB. We're making them, and then we put in some. If it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of Purim or before we selling them, we put them in the freezer. Then the day of that we are going to dip them in the honey, we are taking them from the freezer, heat up the honey, make the honey fresh. I guess that's what the way that we do it, making the honey that day, and dip them in the honey after the defrost. Yes, absolutely. You can make them ahead of time and put them in the freezer. Yeah.
And then how long do they keep outside of the refrigerator? For maybe a week, do you think?
Yeah, if you keep it room temperature, for sure a week, even more than a week. But it needs to be, I'll keep them in a container and close it so, you know, it's stay fresh. But yeah, for sure. I mean, baklava can stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks outside. So it's similar to that. Just the dough, it's different, of course. But yeah, I'm pretty sure 3 weeks, 2 weeks, it will be just fine.
And if you're going to make them ahead of time, you would freeze them without the syrup and then add the syrup, dip them in the syrup after you defrost them.
Yes, after. Don't freeze them with the honey. I mean, you might, maybe can, but I don't recommend it. That way it looks fresh. When you dip it in the honey, the cookie looks fresh. I don't know, in the freezer, the honey, I don't recommend it. Let's say that. It's better to freeze it after you baking it and then leave it, defrost it before, and then dip it in the honey.
There's a comment from Sue, Dalia, that says she misses cooking with you and the wonderful ladies at Ezra Bessaroth.
Sue, who? Sue?
Joe Bernstein said this. Sorry.
Oh, tell her that we miss her too, and hopefully I'll see all of them soon.
Yes. Baruch Hashem. And Joanne invites us all to just add in chat any specific, any particular foods that you eat for Purim or traditions that you share with your family. Sadia, tell us what, unmute yourself, and maybe you and Bina can tell us what your plans are for Purim. What are you doing? What are you going to do for your family?
We are thinking about, we have these peanut butter and jelly costumes, and my Spider-Man one, it was way too small. It made holes in it.
Oh man.
And so we might do this peanut butter and jelly one.
Tell us about it. That sounds really great.
So Bina's jelly and I'm peanut butter, and when we go close to each other, it looks like someone's about to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Your mom and dad might have to be bred and squish you together. What do you think?
My mom or dad can't even lift Bina.
So Bina, what are your plans is there anything else that you're planning to do for Purim? How are you going to celebrate?
I might be reading some Megillah, but I'm not completely sure.
Will you be able to meet any friends in your costumes?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, we're going to school, and we're probably going to we're having like a mini carnival at school on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So we'll all be in our costumes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You're lucky because so many kids can't go to school. So you're really lucky that you have been able to. Mm-hmm.
Did anybody put the Travados already in the oven? Do we know if anybody made and put them in the oven?
Let's see.
Looks like Donna's making them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can go ahead and show us when they come out, how to dip.
Yeah, when they come out, I'm waiting for them. I have like a couple more minutes and I'm just hoping they are done.
Well,
See,
does anybody else have, other than Fulares and Travados? I'm trying to think. Here, it looks like someone says that they make bizcochos as well for pudding. You know,
yeah, all kind of sweet. All kind of sweet you make in on Purim. It's not, it's, I don't know if you guys will know what ma'amul is. It's a stuffed date cookie. People make those. People make just like a biscochos. They're making cookies with jam, like babkas, all kind, whatever you desire. I mean, it's a sweet tray. It's a, so my oven, it's 10 minutes. Let me check it out and see how they look like before we'll, okay, they are not done yet. So we're going to put them for another 10 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
So in the meantime, your honey should be done by now. Just keep it warm. Don't simmer it more, so it's not going to be very, very thick.
Now, Dalia, do we want the Travados to be a little bit golden, like?
Yes.
Like
I mean, they don't need to be cooked, so you don't eat in dough. So it's, everybody's oven is different. This is a convection oven, but it's still, sometimes it's, at home, it might go faster, it will go maybe slower. So you just need to know your oven. Maybe you wanted to put it, if your oven is not, maybe you wanted to put on 375. Maybe you wanted to put on 325. It's depend by everybody's personal oven. So just watch over it and make sure that it's cooked. The dough need to be, harder. I mean,
now, Dalia, have you ever just taken a shortcut? Because there's sugar in the Travados themselves. Have you ever not dipped them in the honey? Just serve them dry with maybe some powdered sugar on top?
You can. You can. But I think it's rich and it's we eat it over here when we come in, take it from the oven. If we have a reject or something, we are, test it just to make sure.
So what makes them reject? If it opens?
If they're too big, too small, they didn't cooked while, it got too overcooked or something like. I mean, it's everybody. What everybody call reject. I don't know. Sometimes I call for stuff reject, and people laugh at me. Say, "You kidding me? It's not reject." But
you have higher standards.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is in they need to see it. You need it's, if it's open, if it's break on you, if it's all kind of stuff, it can be reject.
Now, Dalia, when we twist Boracays, that keeps it from opening. So how do you keep the Travados from opening? Do you have to just pinch it extra hard along the edge?
It's not actually, I think the dough is different with the orange juice and the sugar, whatever we put inside.
Oh,
I think it keep it together. Nothing opened here. The way that I closed it, it stayed the same way.
Okay.
I baked. Yeah. If you wanted to make it, like I said, I saw, I went to an event and somebody made those and it looked really like a Boracays. They folded like a Boracays. So I don't know if he made the same dough, if it's made from the same dough of Boracays or different dough, or that dough, but it's still floated like a flour. But I didn't do that over here. You guys saw me how I did it. And it didn't open in the oven, so it's all good. It's all good. Any more questions?
Oh, this is a good suggestion. not a good theory, that because borakas have eggs, they tend to expand more and push the dough open. But this filling doesn't have anything that's expanding.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I mean, I think the nut, it's it's solid. So
Yes.
it's all good.
But while we're there, how do you keep your, while we're on the subject of borakas, how do you keep your borakas from exploding?
I think you should put less filling to make sure that you're not stuck it too much.
Yeah.
It's happened to me that I put too much filling and it's really got explode. It got open really big time.
Yeah.
So
But
I think
Marguerite seems
less
more
filling. You need to put less filling.
Mhm.
About 5 more minutes, guys.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering if we can talk about the filling, Dalia.
Yes.
You flavored it with cinnamon and cloves, but I'm wondering like what other flavors might be nice combinations in the nuts.
I mean, we have already, like we said, we have hold on just a second, okay?
Sure. I'm thinking that maybe, I don't know, you could add cardamom as a different flavor.
I'm
Or
back. I'm sorry. Like baklava, for example, we do only sugar and cinnamon.
yeah,
And
but
of
I'm
course,
thinking maybe you could do cardamom for a change.
you can do that. I know
Or
my good friend Jamile loved that. So I'm
Yeah.
sure she will do
Might
that.
add a little rose water maybe to the
Rose
honey.
water, you can do rose water. You can, and whatever the flavor that you wanted to get from it, you can add to it.
Yeah.
Anything, I think anything flavored would be good.
What about orange blossom water? Too bitter?
I mean, again, if you like that flavor, you can.
Yeah.
It's a personal matter. I mean, whatever you like and the taste that you like. Some people don't like cloves. Some people don't like cinnamon. Some people don't like, so whatever. But that's open for your.
Yeah. Oh, Jonas says that Jonas Miller says they fill them with pecan and spiced with cardamom.
Spiced with what?
Pecans and cardamom is what
Yeah.
Jonas Miller uses
I
too.
said you can have I like to mix all the nuts together, but like I said, the original recipe it's only walnuts. And baklava, for example, it's only almonds.
So Ty has something to share as well about pudim.
Who?
Ty. Oh, he has to unmute.
Everybody can hear me okay now?
Yes, absolutely.
I was just going to share a couple of local customs that
Please.
I learned about from the Seattle Sephardic community. One of them I see Jamala is there. Hello, Jamala. Are you here? She's here. This one came from her father-in-law, Elazar Bihar, who talked about when he was a kid growing up with his brothers and sisters in the Seattle Sephardic community. That everybody knows, I think Bina talked about it, we have a custom called Mishloach Manot, where people send gifts of food to their friends. So Mr. Bihar talked about how, as a child, his mother would prepare what's called platicos, these silver trays where the kids would go around and give them to members of their friends and members of the community full of all kinds of treats. And that he and his brothers would often fight over who would get to carry the tray, because if they carried the tray to somebody's house, they'd often get a quarter or probably only about a dime or a nickel at the time. So there would be a big argument amongst the brothers who gets to carry the trays, and that their mom, Buena Lea Bihar, would fill them with bizcochos, Fulacunio, which is like sesame with honey, and even Hershey Kisses. And then that she would also she would knit little hats for newborn babies. And then the boys would bring it around the neighborhood and give out the platicos, give out loach manot to all their friends. And that was one kind of cute custom that happened in Seattle. And then I also learned from Ben Sion Sam Myman, Al Myman's father, that there used to be a special candy store here in the Central District, run by, I don't know, maybe some of you guys know him. His name was Behor Kandiati, and he used to have he'd make special candies for the kids for Purim. And a lot of these I'm not really familiar with, but maybe some of you guys have heard about them. They include Halva de Sesame, we probably know that one, Halva with sesame seeds, Pitas de Sesame, Pitas de Kaimak, Lokum, Malvachis, and Sujok, which that one I for sure have not heard about before. But those were candies that were available for Sephardic kids in Seattle in the 1930s. And I did try and find out a little bit more about some of the candies, but we didn't. We know that the Halva de Sesame is sesame seed, and Lokum is like Turkish delight, which is like a mixture of gel and starch and sugar with chopped dates or nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Hazan Azos helped me fill in some of the blanks here. So he says Pitas de Sesame is some type of, it's sesame and phyllo. And then this was the one that threw us off quite a bit, the Pitas de Kaimak. So Kaimak is some type of, it's like some type of cream puff. Kaimak means cream, but also means delicious or tasty. So according to Hazan Isaac Azos, the word pita, like we think of pita today, has nothing to do with like pita bread, but it's more like a crust or some type of pastry dough. It's white and hollow on the inside in the shape of a round triangle that comes to a point, and it's made with lots of sugar. So those are two of the local Seattle Sephardic customs for Purim that some of them are gone now, but I'm glad maybe we can revive a few of these. That's it. Buen Purim to all of you, and thank you for allowing my children to share
They're
their
the
recipes.
highlight, Ty. They're the highlight.
All right, guys. Thank you
So
all.
my mother-in-law said that candiotti means candy in Italian.
Well, that is funny.
Yeah, like a candy maker. And so the
Candy
theory
makers
is,
for generations.
yeah, like the name Cantor, like Connie Cantor, that probably was a Hazan at some point.
Right.
Yeah. And so the lore is that they were candy makers in the old country and then brought those skills over. But she was also telling me that for 5 cents they could get those candies she was talking about. There's one that was white and hard, red and clear and hard, and there were all these Pesach candies, and that was the highlight. How is it, Dalia?
All right, I took them out from the oven, guys. I wanted to show you.
Beautiful. And I can see it's sort of golden around the edges.
Yeah, exactly. You can, like, again, your taste. If you like it less baked, you can do that. That's the way how it's look inside.
Oh, beautiful. So Jamila says that in Farsi, kaimak is also the cream. I think in Ladino it's also used, and someone can just chime in if they realize. Oh, in Arabic, sorry. In Arabic, it's kaimak. I think in Ladino, kaimak is used as just, as an English cream of the crop, like as an idiomatic expression of something that's the best because the cream rises.
Okay, now.
Give me the crop, Rena. You're the kaimak.
So let's go dip it in the honey right now. Okay, make sure cover it with honey.
So Dalia, okay. I'm wondering if Jeff can twist the screen a little bit so that we can see you dip one in one more time. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Dalia. So you've got a slotted spoon.
I use that also, but it's
Yeah.
and then I'll put it now. If you're going to send it to people, I assume you can. The way that we do it over here, we put in a cupcake cups, the pepper cups, and then. But over here, I'm just going to lay it on the nice tray.
So now is the syrup still warm? Not too hot to burn your fingers, but still warm enough to.
It's hot.
The temperature on, Dalia, on a low.
It's hot.
Okay.
It's hot, but I don't.
You have no more feeling. You have no more sense in the tips of your fingers.
I heard somebody say, if you don't afraid from heat, you don't afraid from your husband. Okay. So I don't know. No, it's a joke. But I'm. Yeah, it's hot, but I be careful. I have gloves in my hand.
Yes.
You just do it, and then you can continue, and then put some toasted sesame on them, as much as you want.
Now, oh, beautiful. Very, very beautiful, Dalia. So now, did you toast this? Do you buy your sesames toasted, or do you toast them yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you can do that on yourself. I was lucky enough to find them toasted already, so I didn't toast them here. But you can, you do that.
And then how do you choose whether to toast the sesames or use raw Testimonies? Is that just for flavor that you self decide, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be toasted when you are finishing the product. When it's, like, for example, for biscochos, we put it raw because it's go to the oven, so it's toasted in the oven together, cooked with the cookie. But for that, because it's the final step of the cookie, so we just do toasted over. Oops. And it works just beautiful. It's like the cookie is hot and the honey is hot, so it's go faster. It's really go fast.
Now I'm wondering, Donna I think is cooking along. How are you doing, Donna?
She's mute.
Oh, look, wait, hold on. Wait, Donna, don't move. Hold on. Show us again. Okay, so those are getting ready to go in the oven, right? Oh, fantastic. Those look great. Is there anybody else who's cooking along who can do a little show and tell? Oh, Elise. Okay, hold on one second. And okay, show us. Show and tell, Elise, if you don't mind. Oh, I can't. Okay, here we go. I saw just a little glimpse. Thank you for sharing. All right. Well done. Yes. So somebody asked in the chat that they logged on a little later, and these each of the Ezra Bessaroth Learning Kitchen videos are available on the Ezra Bessaroth website, and I'm wondering, Joanne, if you can put the link in.
Not yet. It gets converted to YouTube, and then it will go on the website and in YouTube. That's where.
Right. I just don't have it handy. I mean, I can, but would you mind putting the link to the page where all the YouTube
Oh,
videos
okay. Yeah, let me do that. Hold on one sec. I'll do that one
and
sec.
then you'll be able to watch past videos like Carnabit, the fried cauliflower in a tomato sauce, also a Moroccan fish recipe, which was delicious. Also, Dalia made bermuelos, which is very intimidating, but you can see how she did that. So
Brina, let me interrupt you.
yes, gorgeous. Now somebody was asking if they don't like sesame flavor, can you recommend a way to top? I think it's mostly for decoration, a little bit for flavor, but what about like some of the ground
Maybe sesame and sugar? And not sesame, sorry, cinnamon and sugar.
cinnamon sugar? Oh, great idea. And how about like maybe a little ground pistachio nut or
That can be
something?
too. Yeah, like nuts. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, ground
Oops.
nuts. Yeah. You got nicely too. All right.
Now it looks like Beth Alhadeff has a question. I'm looking for her. Here, let me, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, Beth, if you know how. I can't do it for you, unfortunately. But if you look at the lower.
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, you got it. Thank you.
Oh, I zoom quite a bit. Yeah.
What's your question?
Well, I just wanted to know, do you just bake them or do you, or just fry them?
What? Travados?
Hmm?
We bake them.
You bake them.
Yes.
But I think Dalia was also talking about, I think in Morocco, also in Tunisia, there is the tradition of the fried dough, like the haman's ears and things like that, which are fried and then dipped in honey. So there's many sweets like that. I don't know if in Rhodes we did that so much, except for buñuelos, of course, which is fried and put in honey. But
Like I said, in one type of the cookie that my mom made, and it was originally it's fried, absolutely fried. But for some people, they keep in different diet and it's to be less oil. We did bake it.
yeah.
So this one, I'm assuming if you wanted to fry it, I think you can, but I think it's rich enough that we can skip that and just bake it.
Yeah, because there's so much oil in the dough as well.
The dough is oily, and all the nuts and the honey, and I think it's
because
too
like
many.
buñuelo dough doesn't have any oil in the dough itself. You fry it and then dip it in the honey.
It's different cookie. It's a donut,
Yeah.
So it needs to be fried. It's different, but
So
we do
now-
have buñuelos. We have a little bit of oil on it, but not a cup of oil. That's for sure.
Yes, yes. So now Joanne has put in chat, if you can open up your chat, you can see the link to where all the recordings of past Learning Kitchen demonstrations, and also this one eventually will go to the Ezra Bessaroth website, and then she has the extension there that you can go to. If there's any other questions, I think we're about done. So maybe everybody, if they feel comfortable, can unmute and join the conversation with your own voice. And also feel free to ask any questions of Dalia and also Bina and Sadia. And maybe you all can tell us, if you're not from Seattle, where you're logging in from, because we're always curious to know who's joining us from afar. Maybe we're all locals. Anaheim, California, welcome. And there's a question if the link that Joanne posted is for all the videos. And yes, you'll see that's where this one will be posted and all past ones will be posted. It's going to take a little while for this one to be on that website, but it will be there eventually. And you're welcome to go and see some of the demonstrations you may have missed. And also, if there's any requests, if anybody has a particular dish or baked good, desayuno, which they've been curious about, feel free to add it to the chat and we'll find an expert baker who can demonstrate it for us. Oh, Sue Jaffe cooks with the Atlanta cookbook. Yes, I think I have a copy of that one too. Oh, and Los Angeles is checked in. Thank you for logging in from Los Angeles. Oh, baklava is a suggestion. Yes, we've got many expert baklava chefs. So that's something maybe we can do in the future. Great suggestion. How often do you make baklava, Dalia? You must make them